Hello everybody, Racing Mouse here, and welcome to round 6 of RTTF League 5. Today we're gonna be racing in Austria. This is quite difficult track in F1 2022. It's known for its difficult to keep track limits. We're gonna see a lot of time penalties for exceeding track limits in basically pretty much every turn, especially turn 1 and the last turn. It's very difficult to keep the car in tracks and in between the white lines. Today we have almost half the grid missing. I think we have 11 players connected, but we might still get some more during qualifying. Of course, they will not be able to qualify today. They will be starting last, so we'll see how that goes. Still waiting for Fake to connect, and we're on. Loading complete. And here we are. The weather looks a little bit cloudy, but I don't see any signs of rain. We'll see if that will change at all during qualifying, or maybe we'll see some rain during the race. I don't know. The weather is on random. So, everybody's in the garage trying to pick the best setup for the notorious track. And I wonder who will be the first one to exit the pits. And LDW already left the session. I wonder what that was about. And that's Aston Martin first to leave the pits. That's Vlad the Midman himself, leading the pack out of the pits. Right after him was Fawaz, or was a doctor? No, that was Fawaz indeed. Second one to exit the pits. And behind him we have Corny. Corny filling in for somebody, driving his Alfa Romeo, as per usual for him. It's being blocked a little bit by Fawaz. Next one to lead the pits is Daxter, also on his outlap, also in Alfa Romeo. We also have Kiko in the McLaren, also nearing to turn 2 and now in turn 3. Turn 3 is also going to be very difficult. It's very easy to spin in turn 3, especially if you're on the wrong gear or you brake a little bit too late. Obviously you want to brake as late as possible to maximize the time save you can get. It's easy to save some time, but it's also easy to lose a lot of time when you make the corner wrong. Both Mercedes are also out of the pits now, and Vlad is already on his flying lap. Let's ride on board with him for a moment. And here it is, second turn, which is basically not a turn at all. You can still go flat out through there, and now breaking the 100 bollard mark, he is into turn 3, keeping neat and tidy through there. Now the second DRS zone. This track is basically DRS zones and a couple of corners, so it's a very fast track. The lap around here should be around 1 minute 5, maybe 1 minute 4 if you're very fast. Everybody getting out of Vlad's way, that's good to see. Another Mercedes getting out of the way, also neat and tidy through there, a little bit on the limit, and that was actually not on the limit, that was out of the track boundaries. And now Vlad has invalidated his flying lap attempt and he's already pitting, so I don't think that was what he would have wanted. Who is next? I think that's another Aston Martin, or maybe an Alpha Tauri of Fawaz, so we'll see. Yes, Fawaz is the first one to set a time. It's a 1:06.2. It's not a bad time, but it's not great either. I expected much more from the guys in tier 2. We'll see. Corny, I think, also invalidated his flying lap attempt. He did not set a time. Now Daxter across the line. No, Daxter is pitting. And yeah, next one to cross the line would be Penguin. And Penguin jumps into 1:05.4. So does Kiko. Not much separates the two of them. Kiko and Penguin being pushed down by Obsidian Leader, who now sets the fastest lap time of 1:05.2, being trailed by RD Gamer, who also sets a pretty fast time of 1:05.3. Now, if I'm reading this correctly, Fawaz is also on his flying lap. He is trying to make another one just after the first one, and he has set the purple first sector. Let's see, he's now across the line. Will he be able to set a pole position lap time? No, he won't. That was faster than his previous lap time, but he still keeps the 6th position. Misty, meanwhile, on 1:06.5, the last guy of those that set up a time. So now pretty much everybody that is on the track will be on their in laps. Everybody's going pretty slowly, so I can only expect we can have a decent, a little bit of a time to catch our breath. Looks like Fek is also on his out lap, and so is Dr. Failes. I don't know how to pronounce that. Sorry if I butchered the pronunciation. I'm gonna keep calling him Dr. Failes. So Dr. Failes is in Alpha Tauri right now, and his teammate Fawaz is probably gonna go in for a tire swap and maybe some more fuel. But I don't know how the two of them stack up against each other. I don't know which one is faster, so we'll have to wait and see. Mr. Cupcake has joined. He will not be able to set up a time during qualifying, but he will be there to start his race. And Dr. Failes starts his flying lap, and now that looks like Fake. He's either warming up his tires or he had a spin. Doesn't look like it though. And doesn't invalidate on the last corner, and he is able to start a flying lap. Let's see how he will do. Fake can be a fast driver. He was, I think he was compromised by the Ferrari over there. Mizzy that was, I assume. He left the session, and the bot parked his car in a very, very bad spot for Fake. So Penguin now on his out lap, he got ahead of Fake. He's trying to warm up his tires. Fake might be trying to recharge his battery, warm up his tires a little bit, and try and go again. Meanwhile, another Ferrari, wait, no, that's not a Ferrari, that's an Alfa Romeo, sorry. An Alfa Romeo of Daxter, looks like it, yes, is starting his flying lap, and that was what looked like a purple first sector. That's gonna be very important if Daxter wants to put up his car in a decent position. Obsidian Leader, meanwhile, and Fawaz, both of them, as is Mr. Cupcake actually, 3 of them are on their out laps. And now 2 more cars has started their out laps. That is Misty and Striker Boy. So for now everything looks pretty good for Daxter. They didn't set up a purple sector. I don't know if he improved. I was not paying attention, to be honest. But now that looks pretty good in the last sector. Jumped on the curb a little bit, but kept it neat and tidy over there. And now across the line, let's see. That's good enough for P6. Not a bad time from Daxter. 1:05.7. Also have a yellow flag in sector 2. And that's not Vlad, that's another Alpha, sorry, not Alpha, Aston Martin of Misty. Looks like he was letting somebody by. And that probably was Penguin. Yes, it was Penguin now on his flying lap attempt, and now another yellow flag in front of him. That is Mercedes going very slowly. Now that does not look like a flying lap attempt, to be honest. Penguin is going very slowly. So Obsidian Leader, I think he's on his flying lap now. I don't know if he extended the lead. He's certainly pushing now. Yeah, that's a flying lap, alright. He is still on provisional pole and leading the pack. His teammate, meanwhile, Mr. Cupcake, just joined the session and is now trying to put himself out there. And now that was invalidated. Obsidian Leader invalidated his flying lap attempt. And that was a Mercedes on the sidelines. Wonder what that was doing. Reminiscent of another Austria race when Bottas was forced to go wide and cosplay a lawnmower. Yep, and Obsidian starts his another flying lap attempt. I think he compromised his teammate while doing that. Mr. Cupcake was forced to pit. Now those are some good lines for turn 1. Let's see if Obsidian Leader will be able to make a better time than his already provisional pole time. Yes, he is, at least at the moment. And now, that was that invalidated? Yes, it was. He invalidated one more time. That doesn't matter too much since he is leading, but if any of the other guys will be lucky enough to put up better time, that might be a problem for him, although it's still 8 minutes left in the session, so we'll see. For now, doesn't look like anybody is trying to challenge Obsidian Leader. That's a mighty good time of 1:05.2. Early Gamer is quite close, Penguin is as well, but none of them seems to be making serious attempts at taking the pole position from Obsidian Leader. Early Gamer now, is he on his flying lap? Certainly pushing right now for the first straight. Yeah, looks like he's on his flying lap. Or not. I can never guess who is where when I don't see the outlap label near their name. So, Penguin and Early Gamer got pushed down. Obsidian Leader lost the provisional pole. I looked looked away only for a second, and now Pockets is on provisional pole. Very close time to Obsidian Leader, 1:05.2 as well, but 18 thousandths of a second faster than Obsidian Leader. So the fact that I just realized I was reading that name wrong. Obstinate Leader. Obstinate Leader was invalidating his flying lap attempts. He did it 2 or 3 times, I don't actually remember. I think that was 2 times. So by doing so, he might have put himself at a risk. Now his provisional pole got taken away from him. He still has plenty of time to make another attempt, but he will have to use another compound of tires, and he will be left with non-soft tires for the race ahead. I could have sworn someone else called him Obsidian Leader though. Like, I don't know if that was Deathling, but I could have sworn that some other commentator called him Obsidian Leader as well. And that's a McLaren of Kiko, facing the wrong direction, in a very dangerous spot. Looks like he's gonna try to put himself back. Let's see if he'll be disqualified. No, he makes that spin in time to put himself back on the right direction. But will he be able to get out of the way for... No, that's Daxter. Daxter is on his flying lap, so... sorry, Daxter... Is he? Yeah, looks like Daxter is on his flying lap. We'll see if he'll be able to put himself more ahead. And across the line we go. No, that was... Well, honestly, I don't know what's going on anymore. I could have sworn that a little bit earlier he was on his out lap. Maybe now he's on his flying lap. I don't know, actually know. Penguin now crossed the line, and he ones up Pockets, his teammate, and he's now on provisional pole. 9 thousandths of a second faster. The pack is very close together in the front 3 places. That's an interesting turn of events. Vlad the Meatman not far behind, Early Gamer not far behind, Corny up there in the mix, as is Mr. Cupcake and Kiko. Actually, top 10 is separated by only half a second. Striker Boy has joined. And a yellow flag in sector 2, that's Fawaz. I think he was letting another Red Bull. He was letting another Red Bull by, and now he's gonna start his flying lap. We can go on board with Fawaz for this occasion. A lovely Italian flag on his helmet, and let's see if this Italian Alpha Tauri will be any faster than any of his rivals. Let's see. Good braking zone for turn 3. Semi-decent line. He opts not to go on the curbs on the outside of the corner, probably for the better. He risks spinning his car if he does that. Loses a couple of tenths by doing so, but saves a couple of seconds by not spinning. Also decent line, and that's Kiko spun again, facing the wrong direction yet again. And now Obstinate Leader is the first one to go into 104s with a mighty time of 104.8. That's gonna be hard to beat by anybody. But let's not forget the track progression. Everybody's gonna get a little bit faster as the time progresses because of the rubber laid down by the cars going around and around. And yeah, Fawaz now across the DRS zone, across the line, and that was good enough for 8. Fawaz into 105s, pulls himself up in the mix with everybody else. Virtually everybody now is on the track. We have only 4 cars out there in the pits. Some of them are already DNF'd, and we'll see. RD Gamer starts his outlap. Meanwhile, Vlad the Midman looks like he's pushing. He's now nearing the final corner. Good line through there, a little bit on the curb, didn't spin, that's good, didn't validate his lap either. And now he one-upped himself. That's exactly the same time as Penguin. If he would have been a couple of minutes faster with that time, he would be on provisional pole. But for now, he's on P3. Already invalidated the next attempt, so he will not be improving on this occasion. 2 minutes left in the session, so I'm pretty much sure that's that for Vlad. Vlad the Cackman, don't be rude. That's rude. Who else is there? Pockets might still have something to say. He now starts another flying lap, or so it would seem. Obstinate Leader still might have something to say. He might extend his lead over everybody else. Everybody still got a chance to one-up themselves. Vlad still can start another flying lap. Oh no, he drained his battery. I don't think he realizes he's... Oh, he pits. Okay. I think he knows. Okay. Penguin is out there in the mix as well. And let's go back to Pockets for a moment. Two Red Bulls going very closely with each other. And Fawaz now going slowly, trying to let Kiko by. Kiko doesn't have much battery left either. Obstinate Leader pits, so he'll not be improving anymore. Mr. Capcan, meanwhile, that's... I think he exceeded track limits in last turn, so he'll not be improving either. Penguin, meanwhile, across the line, 1/10 behind his personal best, so that's not gonna be an improvement. Pockets invalidated his flying lap attempt, so he will not be improving. That leaves us with, frankly, not many people. RD Gamer is still out there, across the last corner, across the line now. That's an improvement, but not enough to beat Obstinate Leader. That's good enough for P2 though, which is not a bad place to start a race, to be honest. Across the line goes Alfa Romeo. No, he goes into the pits. So the only cars on the track still are Misty, who is across the line now. He does not improve, and Kiko, who goes awfully slowly. So I don't think anybody will be improving. No, sorry, Penguin and Pockets are still out there and looks like they are pushing like hell. Penguin especially, he closed the gap to his teammate immensely. He's now going very close to his teammate. Across the penultimate corner we go. Now across the ultimate corner, and let's see, does not invalidate the track limit. He tries to get a slipstream from his teammate, and that was 2 seconds slower. So no, nobody is gonna improve at this point of the session. That was an interesting qualifying, to be honest. Obstinate Leader invalidating a lot of timed lap attempts. Actually, a lot of drivers were doing that, to be honest. That is a relentless track, and as I said in the beginning, we're gonna see a lot of time penalties for exceeding track limits. Basically every single corner can be invalidated on this track. Maybe except the fourth one. Fourth one is quite easy, but the rest of them, well, one mistake and you can go off, you can exceed the track limits, you can go on the curb, you can save the car from spinning, but the track limits are invalidated and you get a time penalty anyway, so yeah. So, after the session ended, this is the order we're gonna start in. Obstinate Leader, starting from pole, alongside Erdy Gamer, then Penguin, Vlad the Midman, Pockets, I believe, might be wrong on this one because the leaderboard got turned off. Yeah, I was right, that was Pockets on 5th place, then Fake with a surprising 6th. I was not expecting him to start that high after he botched his flying lap attempt and was blocked by the Ferrari of Mizzy, I believe. Then we have Daxter on P7 and another Alfa Romeo of Corny alongside him on P8. Then Fawaz, Mr. Cupcake, Kiko, Dr. Failes, Striker Boy, Misty, Mizzy, and that was a good question. LDW, yeah, LDW who got, I think, penalized because he exited the session right away. Either that or he was trying to start from the last, and that is rain, and that is actually that is storm cloud over Austria. That's gonna be a very difficult race for the guys. The track is difficult as it is when it's not raining, and now it's gonna be relentless. It's gonna be so wet. I can see that that's not just any little rain. That's proper. That's proper storm. And we're already starting the session. I think somebody jumped the trigger there. We have an agreement that allows people to take their time while choosing their setup, perfecting it from the race condition. And as we have rain, I would only assume they would take more time than usual, not less. So I can probably imagine that's gonna leave a lot of angry voices in the designated team voice chats. But here we are. The track is very wet, the cars are on their spots, the lights are lit, and now they are out and we are on the way. Everybody getting along pretty nicely. I can see some movement in the back of the grid. Obstinate Leader had a perfect start. Fake is trying to make some moves into the first corner. Everybody keeping distance to each other. Actually pretty clean start. Maybe everybody is scared for the rain, but Penguin is making up places. I think somebody lost a couple of places. Corny dropping down the order. Daxter drops down the order. Fake actually bold move into turn 1, earned him 2 places, he's now P4. As Mr. Cupcake, he's now P6 starting from the middle of the pack. Early Gamer is not letting by though, and there is some fights ensuing in the midfield. That's Corny trying to go from the inside of Mr. Cupcake. Mr. Cupcake leaving him space to do so, but not letting him go without a fight. Let's see, he has to go wide to not crash into somebody, and that was Corny and Mr. Cupcake, and now Fawaz is losing places, and now Corny is out of the track. I don't think that's the DNF, but he's gonna be relegated to the last position. Misty now trying to get ahead of Fawaz. A lot of action in the midfield, and looks like LDW is now trying to get ahead of Mr. Cupcake, but Mr. Cupcake comes out of the scruffle on top. Mizzy meanwhile gaining places. He started from one of the last places, and now Corny decided to pit. I don't think that was his own decision. I think he had damage to his front wing and was forced to do so. Mizzy almost spins out of the turn 1. Striker Board trying to get ahead of Fawaz, but Fawaz keeping better in line, gets ahead of him. And now Kiko is trying to make a move into turn 3. Let's see, will he be the latest of the late breakers? No, he won't. Meanwhile, Mizzy outbreaks himself, goes out on the slippery area outside of the corner and gets tangled with Fawaz, was that I think. Fawaz wasn't bothered by that in the slightest. He's still 10th, but Mizzy is losing places. He got overtaken by not only Kiko but also Daxter. Out in the front, everybody's going pretty closely, but I don't see any major battles. Unlike in the midfield, Fawaz is still trying to defend from Striker Boy. Vlad the Midman is now losing control of his car. He got tangled with RD Gamer, but now, oh no, that looks like a DNF from Vlad. And Kiko as well, sorry, LDW. That was the worst possible place to spin like that. Daxter as well, looks like he got out of shapes in the twisty section of the Spielberg ring. Now we got a safety car. A lot of cars has been tangled into that. That all started with Vlad losing control of his car. He was not able to regain that control. LDW ran into him and they both ended their race prematurely. Striker Boy was tangled in that. I think he was hit by Vlad. I don't actually remember that well, but I seen some contact in there, so a lot of people, actually 5 people, Corny as well, is opting to pit. Maybe he will now pit for intermediates, maybe it's the right time to do so. Both Alfa Romeos in the pits, that's gonna compromise Corny, but that's not gonna matter too much since we have the safety car out on the track. And no, another set of wet tires and another front wing change, or so it would seem. Yes, the new front wing is going on the Corny's car. Well, that was an interesting first couple of laps. Not much changed in the front. Obstinate Leader still leading, as his name would suggest. Penguin still second and Pocket still behind him. 2 Red Bulls comfortably in second and third. If Obstinate Leader is gonna make any mistakes, they're gonna be there to capitalize on that. Fake, meanwhile, gambled a little bit on the first corner and came out on top because of that. That move into turn 1 was a little bit on the brave side, a little bit dangerous, but turned out to be okay. I don't think he made contact with anybody. I was not paying too much attention to him, but he didn't have to pit, so I assume his front wing is okay. So yeah, that twisty section in the very middle of the track is a very common spot to lose control of the car. I've done that plenty of times myself in my leagues. Granted, when I did that I had massive damage to my underbody, but still, the guys out there are driving on wet tarmac. That's probably worse than damaged underbody. So I wouldn't say I don't understand how that happened. I also wouldn't say I expected that. I thought we're gonna have a clean race after I seen what happened in T1. Everybody went along pretty nicely. Nobody touched with anybody actually on the first lap, I think. There was that one time Corny tangled with somebody, I think, but that was that wasn't too bad of a tangle. I think that was a slight touch, and the damage that Corny got was from hitting the wall more than hitting another car. So since the safety car is out, the crash that Corny had is not gonna matter too much. Also, looks like Misty is out of shapes in the last corner. And now that relegated him to P12. He was running P10, or maybe even higher. I am not sure at that moment. But yeah, I don't see any damage to his front wing, so I think he has to thank his god, whatever he believes in, for that. But anyway, he lost at least 2 places from that. And as I was saying, 2 Alfa Romeos who got out of shapes, let's say, will be now allowed to join with the rest of the pack. So the safety car is actually giving quite an advantage. Daxter and Corny, both of them are on fresh, new wet tires, which are gonna be more grippy than the rest of the pack. And provided they didn't make any contacts with the walls or each other, they're gonna have fresh and unscathed front wings. Will we see the safety car in this lap? No, it's too late for that. We're gonna have one more lap of safety car. The Alfa Romeos will be allowed to join with the rest of the grid, and then we'll see the race restart. And somebody is pitting. Is that the time for intermediate? Pockets is pitting. Obstinate Leader is opting to stay out. Penguin is not pitting. That's probably a wise choice because they are in the same team. Yes, looks like Jeff has called in some people to change for intermediates. We'll see how that will turn out. Obviously, that might prolong the safety car because the field will be now much more spread. Fake Pockets and Mr. Cupcake has decided to play a little gamble and change the tires for the intermediates. That's gonna be interesting. We'll see who will come out on top. Maybe Alfa Romeos are not on such a great position as I initially thought. I can see the rain is actually it's going away a little bit. It's much less heavy than it was before. Yep, and the safety car is in this lap. Everybody joined with the rest of the grid, so we're gonna have a race restart now. I hope it will be a clean race restart. Obstinate Leader will be leading that restart. Penguin second, Early Gamer third. Will we see any movement in top 3? I know we're gonna see some movement in the middle pack, especially since Fake Pockets and Mr. Cupcake are on the intermediate tires. They're gonna put a little twist into that race. So for now, maybe let's ride along with RD Gamer. He will have the best POV of what will gonna happen in the top 3. And now Penguin pits as well. RD Gamer opts to stay out, so does Obstinate Leader. I don't think everybody is gonna agree that that's the best moment to pit. For now, only Penguin, Fake and Pockets and Mr. Cupcake decided to go in. Now Mizzy is trying to make a move on Dr. Failas. Failas getting out of shape, losing 2 places. 2 Striker Boy, 2 Fawas, 2 Mizzy. And now Striker Boy also gets ahead of Fawas. Mizzy will be trying to get from the inside. He had a better line. There was no touching. He left plenty of space. He got a little bit out of shape and tries to find the grip and does so. Fawas is trying to defend but is helpless against Ferrari of Mizzy. Tries to go from the inside into the notorious turn 4. Didn't make contact. That was a lot of space, not a lot of space left by Mizzy, but just enough for him to squeeze his nose in. But he had worse line, he was worse off, and now Mizzy is into P5. Meanwhile, Striker Boy tries to go from the inside of Kiko. They still go alongside. They didn't lose control, unlike Corny and Vlad the Midman. But now Mizzy looks like he pushed Kiko a little bit wild over there. Will that be looked at from the stewards? Misty, meanwhile, that's second time he lost control into penultimate corner and is now facing the wrong direction. And he does not pit, so his front wing is intact yet again. Meanwhile, Corny is in the pits. He's probably gonna switch into the intermediate tires. Yes, he is. A new set of tires with the green stripe on them is coming right onto his car. And now Mizzy gets ahead of Striker Boy. Striker Boy getting quite slow into that corner, actually. I don't know what happened. Maybe he outbraked himself and got wide. Difficult to say. But Mizzy is now into podium positions. He's now into P3. And he's got quite good pace on this track, to be honest. RD Gamer might be in danger if that does not change. Meanwhile, Daxter is losing places to Mr. Cupcake. I don't know what happened there. Mr. Cupcake was trailing Daxter. Daxter now does not look like he has any damage. but he was definitely slower into the turn 4. So, Fake on his intermediate tires is catching up to everybody else, but he's not making any moves, unless for now. Obstinate Leader with his fastest lap, still on wet tires, and Kiko now decides it's a good time to change his tires. Fake meanwhile tries to make a move on Dr. Failes, and he does not fail to do so, leaves plenty of space. Cuts him off at the right time. That looks like a perfect overtake from the Haas driver. And now there's another Alpha Tower in his sights. That's Fawaz. Will he be able to overtake him on the same lap as he did his teammate? We'll see. He's now awfully closer to the Alpha Tower gearbox. I don't think the wet tires are the correct compound at this moment. Fake, who is leading the intermediate tires choosers, is now... I think Fake is now virtually in the leading position. I don't think Obstinate Leader will be able to come into the pits and come out in front of Fake at that point. Looks like pitting early and choosing the intermediate tires was the correct choice. Yes, Fake now with the fastest second sector. And that's gonna count. Look how close he is to Obstinate Leader. Alpine driver now opts to go into the pits. And he's gonna slow down in time. Yes, he is, no penalty there, but he's already being overtaken by RD Gamer, who decides to stay out. Mizzy pits as well, but will that matter? No, Fake is already in front of them, and so is Penguin, so is Pockets. Sorry, not Penguin, Pockets. But Penguin will be in front of them as well. He's now across the line, and he's now into the same corner as Obstinate Leader. They're going heel and toe right now together, and now Penguin is gonna come ahead. Is he gonna come ahead? They are awfully close together. Penguin is gonna have warmer tires, and he will be able to outbrake Obstinate Leader into turn 3. Yes, he is! Obstinate Leader losing 4 places virtually, and dropping down from P1 to P7 at that point. But don't forget, Dr. Fails and Mr. Cupcake is also on the intermediates. So he lost 5 positions. Only Dr. Failes is on the wets at that moment. Or is he? Let's see. Yes, he's on wets, and he's under attack from Mr. Cupcake. That's not gonna be long until Dr. Failes will be forced to pit. He stays out for one more lap. That's extraordinary. He's gonna be losing time on this compound, he's gonna be losing places, but he opts to stay out. I don't know why. Maybe he counts that he'll be able to go on one tire change to the end of the race, and everybody else will be forced to pit 2 times. I don't know what's going on inside his head. RD Gamer as well, trying to make this long stint on wets work somehow, but Fake is already 4 seconds behind him. Looks like this race is turning out to be very fortunate for the Danish driver. Striker Boy, meanwhile, looks like he's inching closer towards the Ferrari of Mizzy. I don't see any major battles going on the grid at that point in time. Dr. Failes... what? Oh, and that's Daxter! Daxter is out of the session, and we have another safety car. That's gonna help RD Gamer immensely. Look, he's now diving into the pits, and probably so will Dr. Fails. Fake obviously tries to stay out to minimize the damage. So is Pockets, and so is Mr. Cupcake. Dr. Failes is now inside the pit entry. RD Gamer is gonna drop a lot of places, but the grid is slowing down, so as I said, minimizing the damage is gonna be what is going on. RD Gamer now exiting the pits. He's gonna somehow exit ahead of Penguin and ahead of Obstinate Leader. So looks like our pole sitter made a couple of wrong choices and is now relegated to P6. Unbelievable. Anything can happen during the wet race. but look at that, the three drivers who opted to pit during the last lap of safety car are now P1, P2 and P3. If that was not a good decision, I don't know what it was. Probably decision of Vlad to spin his car and cause the safety car in the first place. So the second safety car and during this race, and we're only 1/3 underway. Oh no, looks like the safety car is bugging out. It's allowing drivers to pass it. Fortunately, Fake did not do so, and looks like it resumed to play its role normally. Yeah, I know what was that about. It was clearly flashing green, so I think it was the game was allowing Fake to pass the safety car, but Fake didn't do that, and the game remembered that, well, yeah, he's the race leader. We don't want him to pass the safety car, and it's all good still. So right now we have 3 DNFs, that's Vlad the Meatman, LDW, who crashed into each other after Vlad spun out in the twisty section of the track, then Daxter losing control, presumably, on the second straight after turn 3, and the safety car is in this lap. That was a very short safety car period, probably because nobody pitted for the new front wing, and the pack was packed very tightly together with each other. So now Fake is gonna lead the restart. Pockets is gonna be trying to challenge the first spot of the podium with Mr. Cupcake for the company, with the 3 of them. Let's see, before the safety car is gonna be in. Spectator menu. I want to see the tires of on anybody. Yep, everybody is on intermediates. And Earthy Gamer looks like he's gonna have an advantage over everybody else because he's on fresher tires. Fake is holding back everybody else for a long time, and that compromised Earthy Gamer. And now we have a spin, Alpine spins, and that was Mr. Cupcake, who was running third. Now he's gonna be plumb last if he had damage from that. Mizzy, meanwhile, trying to come back from his unfortunate decision of staying out for too long on wet tires. Now challenges Earthy Gamer for P4, and he succeeds in doing so. Mizzy now for P4. Meanwhile, Pockets is not able to catch Fake. Fake was holding them out for way too long, in my opinion, but that played well for him. He managed to drop everybody else. Now Pockets has dropped into 1.6 seconds behind and is now challenged by Striker Boy on fresher tires. Striker Boy with amazing pace compared to the 2 of them. Fake, 3-second time penalty for multiple track limit infringements. So yeah, the first one to take the L for exceeding track limits is gonna be the race leader. I expect virtually everybody else to follow suit in no time. Fake, meanwhile, sets the fastest lap of the session. I don't think it's gonna be held for much longer, since Striker Boy is on much fresher tires and has much better pace than him, and Dr. Failes is on 3-lap old tires, and Fawas and Kiko were forced to pit after they collided with Mr. Cupcake. Mr. Cupcake somehow did not have to pit. I think his front wing was intact, so he was allowed to continue, but he's now P10 except for instead of P3. So let's see, Pockets is actually catching up to Striker Boy, or should I say keeping up with him, and Striker Boy is not catching Fake. He was 1.2 seconds behind the race leader, it's now 0.5. So Mizzy is up there in the mix. He's much closer to Pockets than Pockets is to Striker Boy. Will we see any movements into the midfield? Obstinate leader is now trying to catch Earthy Gamer, and looks like he's gonna do that sooner rather than later. the gap between the two of them is less than half a second. Next corner is gonna decide whether he will be able to overtake him to turn 3 or not. Remember, no DRS yet, we still have wet conditions, so the rear wing cannot open like a letterbox for any of the drivers at the time. But now, Obstinate Leader is gonna have much better exit than RD Gamer. He's getting closer and closer, inching towards the gearbox of the Mercedes. He's now side by side with RD Gamer, and now Obstinate Leader has the better line, has the better speed, did better braking. RD Gamer honestly almost outbraked himself, and now Alpine driver is ahead of the Mercedes. Good stuff, beautiful overtake. Meanwhile, here we go with Mizzy and Pockets. Pockets still defending from Mizzy. He decided, or was rather forced, to abandon his pursuit of the Mercedes of Striker Boy, and now the Red Bull driver has to focus on defense. The Ferrari obviously showed us today that he can overtake and he can do it cleanly, but most importantly he can do it fast. He's now pushing the Red Bull of Pockets, and will he do the same thing as Obstinate Leader did lap before? And now that's a surprise. Fawaz pitted for the slick tires. He's now on mediums. I don't think that's the time to go on mediums. We'll see in a moment. Obstinate Leader, meanwhile, with the fastest lap of the session, but Mizzy is already putting pressure into Pockets' gearbox. Look, they are now side by side almost, but Pockets had a better exit. I think he's dumping ERS, or Mizzy might be running out of ERS, but now they are side by side. Mizzy tries a suicide attack on the Red Bull. I think that was a contact, but looks like Pocket had a better exit out of turn 3. And is now inching ahead of the Ferrari, and that was that was Fawaz, I think. Yep, looks like Fawaz. That was not the time to go on slick tires. He's struggling out there. Oh, look how easy Kiko got ahead of him. That was not even Kiko who got lapped by Misty. Yeah, Fawaz is now lapped car. Fake extend his lead, but meanwhile Pockets got overtaken by Mizzy somehow and is now getting pressured. Oh no, the Pockets got spun out. Looks like that might have been some damage to the Red Bull driver. Waits for everybody to pass and now is forced to pit. I don't know what happened, I was not paying attention, I was looking at what happened to Fawaz, but now Penguin decided it is time to put on slicks as well, despite what happened to Fawaz. Kiko and Mr. Cupcake, meanwhile, going at it with each other. Mr. Cupcake getting worse off. He's also on slick tires, but on hards. Looks like intermediates are still the lap to be the lap, a tire to be on at the moment. Corny, meanwhile, getting awfully close to RD Gamer as well. Corny on much older tires, he's gonna want the track to dry out as soon as possible. He looked at other drivers, he sees that they are struggling. Penguin losing plenty of time to Kiko and Pockets. Pockets decided to go into the pits and put on intermediates anyway, despite everybody else pitting and going for slicks. He sees what's going on, and now Striker Boy pits and puts on slicks as well, and so does Dr. Failes, and I don't think he's gonna pit for intermediates. No, he's not, that's also a medium compound for Dr. Failes AlphaTauri. But what will Fake do? Will he pit early and try to make the slick tires work, or will he extend and be absolutely sure that when he pits and puts on slick tires, his lead will not be compromised? That's a difficult question. He is now the one that everybody will be trying to get. Obviously, he's in front of the pack. And that's another pit stop for Pockets. He went only one lap on the intermediate tires, and now he's pitting from mediums. Look like everybody else will be now pitting on slicks too. Looks like slick tires are now faster. No. Fake decides to stay out for one more lap at least. Mizzy, meanwhile, decides to do otherwise and now dives into the pits for New compound of slick tires. Will there be mediums? Will there be hards? I think from now on everybody gonna go to mediums. Obstinate Leader also going to pit for slick tires, and so is Corny. Okay, sorry for that. I am back now, and as I am coming back, we'll see the track is almost dried out completely. Misty, Penguin and Dr. Fails are now running very close to each other, much closer than anybody else on the grid. So now, Fake and RD Gamer are putting on slick tires. Will they be out of the pits faster than Striker Boy? Striker Boy with the fastest lap now, pushing as hard as he can to catch the Haas of Fake. But Fake comes out on top. He pitted at the right moment. Everybody else pitted a little bit too early. And now Fakes extend his lead, but don't forget, he still has the 3-second time penalty, and so does Mizzy now. So, if Striker Boy will be able to keep up with Fake and remain to him within 3 seconds and not exceed track limits himself, he will be virtually first. And Obstinate Leader is still within the gap to jump Fake, so Fake can be relegated to third if they were to cross the line as they are now. Meanwhile, Mizzy getting awfully close to RD Gamer and now getting awfully ahead of RD Gamer, or so it would seem. Nice overtake from Mizzy again, but don't forget, Mizzy also has a time penalty, and if RD Gamer manages to keep up with Mizzy, he will not be ahead of him in the standings after the race. Striker Boy meanwhile, another fastest lap, getting instantly demolished by Obstinate Leader, who was now demolished by Mizzy. Everybody's gonna be setting now fastest lap of the session because the track is drying up rapidly. Mizzy now getting very close to Corny with the DRS wide open, dumping ERS as much as possible, but Corny is as well. Look at that rear light, it's not flashing at all. They are both dumping the energy like they are running from the Tiger. Now another DRS zone, Mizzy getting closer and closer to Corny. Corny dumping ERS as well. Now Corny manages to stay ahead of the Ferrari, but for how long? Pockets with the fastest lap again, 1:08. That's a good time. Kiko following Pockets very closely, but Kiko is being lapped. No, sorry, that's one lap old tires. He's not being lapped. Sorry about that. Daxter has left the session, that doesn't matter, he's DNF'd anyway. Fake, another 3-second time penalty, that's not what he wanted. That's fast lap for Fake, but that's not gonna matter unless Striker Boy and Obstinate Leader is gonna... both of them are gonna start exceeding track limits as well. So now, Fake is relegated to P3 and maybe even P4 if Corny picks up his pace. But don't forget about Mizzy, he is getting closer and closer to the Alfa Romeo. He now thought about it, he thought better of it, but now Corny outbraked himself and Mizzy got an amazing overtake, exploiting the rival's mistake, and now they are going side by side, aren't they? I don't see because of the camera angle, no, Corny had to yield, and now Mizzy is fully ahead of the Alfa Romeo. Beautiful overtake. He didn't think twice about that, he saw the mistake, he saw the opportunity and grabbed it with both hands. Obstinate Leader meanwhile getting closer to Striker Boy. Will we see another overtake from the pole position seater? Kiko meanwhile getting closer to Pockets. Pockets still defending validly. Will he be able to defend into turn 4? We'll see. Mm, yeah, looked like Pockets had a lot of ERS saved up for that moment, and that wasn't even a challenge from Kiko at that moment. We'll have to wait a couple of more laps for them to swap places, if they're gonna do that at all. Obstinate Leader pumping up the fastest sector in the first part of the track. Now DRS wide open, but so is the Striker Boys DRS. Both of them are catching Fake rapidly. Lap ago there were 9/10ths from him, now they are only half a second. Courtney was probably thinking about getting back that place stolen from Mizzy, but not on this occasion, unfortunately. As was the case with Pockets and Hiko, we're gonna have to wait a couple of more laps for that situation to resolve. So right now we have 3 Crows battles, maybe 4 if we count Mizzy and Dr. Failes. We'll have to wait, because now the closest one out there is Obstinate Leader to Striker Boy. Striker Boy lost a couple of tenths to Fake. That's gonna put him in dangerous position, as Obstinate Leader is gonna have much more drag reduction from the slipstream ahead of him, from the Mercedes of Striker Boy. He's very close to Striker Boy now, also almost kissing his gearbox, but now Fake made a mistake and is gonna give slipstream to Striker Boy as well. But I can see Obstinate Leader has much more ERS than Striker Boy, and now Obstinate Leader goes for the move, goes from the inside, leaves enough space for the Mercedes. Mercedes with better traction outside of the corner, but that doesn't let him stay ahead, because now Obstinate Leader is ahead of the Mercedes. Beautiful overtake, beautiful battle through a couple of corners, and now they swap places. And now Obstinate Leader is gonna have Fake inside. He does not need to overtake him though. Fake is already penalized for exceeding track limits. Let's go back to Kiko versus Pockets meanwhile. Kiko getting another penalty. I don't know how much of a penalty is that. Let's see, penalties 3 seconds only. So if he manages to overtake Pockets, he has still 10 laps to go away and run and extend that gap to that 3 seconds. Mizzy meanwhile another time penalty, and as things stand right now, he's gonna be ending up on P6 behind Corny and behind Early Gamer. Obstinate Leader meanwhile catching Fake little by little. He has the DRS, Fake does not, so that overtake is gonna be much easier than the one on Striker Boy. Misty meanwhile getting very close to Dr. Failes, but doesn't overtake him, outbreaking himself into turn 3. Let's jump to Kiko and Pockets again. Kiko with the DRS wide open, Pockets deploying ERS like a madman. Let's see how much does he have left. Not too much, 20 something %. Good break into the third corner. Kiko trying to go from the outside. He's gonna have another opportunity to the next DRS zone. Corny getting 3 seconds time penalty. That's gonna make his chances of getting ahead of Mizzy a little bit harder, but not too hard. And now Obstinate Leader is already ahead of Fake. That wasn't even a battle. Fake must have run out of the ERS and is now losing places. I don't think Striker Boy will wait too long to follow suit and also make a quick job of Fake's overtake. And now looks like Mizzy had a moment into turn 3, and yes, looks like his tires are overheating. That was a big slip of understeer exiting that corner. And Mizzy losing a couple of places. He was behind Corny. Actually, he was ahead of Corny for a moment. Now Corny is on P4, Early Gamer is on P5, and Mizzy is under danger from being overtaken by Penguin. And that's a spin, and that was Fawaz, looks like. Doesn't matter too much, Fawaz was already a lapped car. And that's... who was that? That's Pockets! Pockets spun around. Kiko got ahead of him. I don't think there was contact, or I don't know if there was contact. We'll have to wait and see for the replays. Meanwhile, Fake is still somehow keeping up with Obstinate Leader, and he got away from Striker Boy's DRS range, almost collecting gearbox of Obstinate Leader in the process into turn 3, but now he will be able to run away. If he is able to keep pace with Obstinate Leader, he obviously has the DRS to help him. He might actually run away from Striker Boy, but will that be enough to keep himself out from penalties harm? He's collected 6 seconds. Striker Boy is within 1.2. I think that's a tall order for the Danish driver to get away from that. I don't think Corny is gonna get him. Corny has 3 seconds time penalty on his own. And he has 7 seconds gap to Striker Boy. So now the field is spread out a little bit. The only battle happening right now is Misty versus Dr. Failes. Both of them going quite close, but keeping their positions for, I don't know, anywhere between 10 and 5 laps for now. Misty braking much earlier than Dr. Fails. He tries not to run into him, but now he has a better run, better exit of turn 1, and for the first time during that battle we see a position change, at least for now. Dr. Failes is still putting up a fight. He had better line to turn 3 and now had a quite better exit, and also collected the DRS from the Aston Martin of Misty, and is now keeping the place he lost a couple of corners ago. Fake, meanwhile, still keeping up with Obstinate Leader, and Striker Boy is dropping little by little, but dropping nonetheless. And now that was a spin from Misty. Looks like there was contact between the two of them, and now Misty is gonna have difficult time to rejoin the track safely. And he lets both of the drivers by. That was Mr. Cupcake and Dr. Fail. No, that was Fawaz, lapped car. So he joins back, and he's gonna have a difficult assignment of catching up to the Alpine of Mr. Cupcake. So let's see, Mizzy still trying to get ahead of Corny, but he not only has to get ahead of him, but also work up a 3-second gap between the two of them if he wants to finish ahead of him after they cross the checkered flag. So Fake still keeping up with Obstinate Leader, but now looks like Striker Boy stopped dropping back and is keeping a gap between the two of them a little bit more steady, which is a good news for the Mercedes driver, because as I already stressed, if he keeps the gap within 6 seconds, he's gonna finish ahead of the Danish driver in the Haas. And that's another spin into sector 2. Misty now getting closer and closer to that. That's Fawaz again, and Fawaz got lapped again. I honestly lost track of how much was he lapped by other drivers. And now Mizzy goes ahead of Corny into turn 4. And that's an interesting development of the situation. Now, will he be able to get away from him? Corny and Mizzy, both of them, looks like they have the cars intact. So, which one of them is gonna have the upper hand? And now Fake earns himself another time penalty, which is gonna be a very good news for the likes of Mizzy, because Mizzy as well now is in the range of Fake's penalty. So Mizzy, if he no, sorry, Mizzy has 6 seconds time penalty, so no, Mizzy is not gonna be getting anything out of that. But now, what happened to Obstinate Leader? The race leader was now spun around and dropped down to P3. That's an amazing news for Striker Boy, especially since he's also in the DRS range to Fake, who has 9 seconds time penalty. The door is not yet quite open. He was close, but not close enough. Mizzy still ahead of Corny. Corny dropping out of the DRS range, but still with the DRS open. Will he be able to put himself back up from that? But I wish I could see the replay of what happened to Obstinate Leader. Was there contact with Fake? There might have been contact with Fake, I don't know. I would have to see that again. But whatever happened, now Obstinate Leader lost the first place to Striker Boy. Fake is gonna get relegated to P3 at the very least. So he's not gonna finish ahead of Obstinate Leader, but I don't think that's gonna make it any better for the previous race leader. In the mid pack, meanwhile, we have 4 cars going closely together. That's gonna be Misty, Mr. Cupcake, Kiko, and I can only assume Fawaz. Since yeah, we've seen the penalties, now let's see the tires. Everybody except for Mr. Cupcake is on the mediums. Mr. Cupcake on quite old hards. Is there gonna be a disadvantage for him? Maybe. Is that gonna change anything? I don't know. I think that Fawaz spun again. And Fawaz retired from the session. Yeah, that's predictable. After spinning so many times and being lapped so many times, I would also retire from the session. So let's see, Misty still ahead of Mr. Cupcake, and Mr. Cupcake is not putting too much pressure on him. And now Fake has he spun around, or did he go into the pits? I can't see him. What happened to Fake? He spun around on penultimate corner, or so it would seem. So now Fake dropping from P1, obviously with the penalty being virtual on P3, he now dropped into P7 and might be, actually is compromised by Dr. Failes anyway. So now Fake virtually dropped down from P3 to P8. Mizzy somehow ended up ahead of Obstinate Leader. Is there any damage to the Alpine? I don't know, but now Mizzy, leaving just enough space for Obstinate Leader, is inching ahead towards the second place and is now in said second place. Obviously he has 6-second time penalty, so that overtake was meaningless in the grand scheme of things. Has 2 laps to pull out 6 seconds to Obstinate Leader, which is obviously not gonna happen unless Obstinate Leader makes a mistake again. But that was an amazing overtake nonetheless. And we've got another Red Bull driver in the pits. Looks like that is Pocket, who is gonna try to steal the fastest lap. Pocket's going out on soft tires, ahead of Misty and Obstinate Leader, but he was forced to let them by since he's a lapped car. So we have 2 laps remaining. What will happen on this remaining 2 laps? We'll have to wait and see. Kiko, Misty and Mr. Cupcake still going very close together. I think Misty lost place to Mr. Cupcake. I don't remember what order they were running in a couple of laps ago, but now Misty is under pressure from Kiko as well. Kiko getting awfully close to the gearbox of Misty. Let's see, Misty dropping ERS like a madman, trying to get away from the dangerous orange McLaren of Kiko. Will he be able to hold on to that place? Probably yes, because Kiko compromised his exit out of turn 3. And now Misty challenging Mr. Cupcake, and they both lose control, but they regain it somehow in time. Not to spin their cars, but now Kiko tries to exploit that opportunity. He got ahead of Misty. He tries to get ahead of Mr. Cupcake. He touches Banks' wheel with Mr. Cupcake. Will there be another spin with the 2 drivers going so close together? No, they still go side by side. They managed to not crash into each other. And now Kiko inches towards ahead. But still, Mr. Cupcake tries to put up a fight, but has to yield. And now Kiko, amazing opportunity that the 2 of them created, fighting each other, presented to the McLaren driver. He grabbed it with both hands, but still, don't forget, Kiko drives with a penalty. Misty as well, so actually that's not that bad for Kiko at all. He only can lose position to Mr. Cupcake at this point, and we are on the final lap of the session. Striker Boy finishes the last corner, and Striker Boy gets across the line to win the Austrian Grand Prix. Mizzy just behind him, overtaken by Obstinate Leader after they cross the finish line. Good racing from all of them. DRC Corny out there to finish on P5 after his penalty relegated him to P5. after Early Gamer crossed the line with no penalties to his name. Penguin finishing P6 and Fake leading most of the race, I think, finishing P7, actually P8, relegated by Dr. Failes, who did not had any penalties. So still, we got Mr. Cupcake leading the pack with no penalties to his name, Kiko with, I think, 3 seconds, and Misty with 3 seconds. Oh no, that's another time penalty for Kiko, that's horrible, that's not what he would have wanted. He's gonna get relegated by Misty now. And that's it for today. Last driver finished across the line. And what an amazing race that was. Actually, I'm out of breath. I have a sore throat just from the amount of words I have to spill in the spawn of that race. I don't know what happened between Fake and Obstinate Leader. It looked like Obstinate had this race in hand, but he got dropped down to P2. Misty, very eventful race, should I say. Banging wheels with a lot of drivers today, making some amazing moves, especially into turn 3. Well, that was a pleasure watching that race. There was not too much incidents compared to the rest of the season for Tier 2. So yeah, I would call it a successful race, if I can. I don't know, there's probably plenty of things that Stewart will have to look at. But for now, I thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I know I enjoyed it to some extent. So I hope to see you guys next time, probably commentated by Deathling again. So yeah, thank you for today, and see you next time. Next time we're going to Silverstone, if I'm not mistaken. So definitely the one to look forward to. Thank you again, and see you next week.